Hello dear friends, I'm Marina and today's video is about the lunar eclipse on the 31st of January. First of all, I will talk about general indications about this lunar eclipse and basically what does the lunar eclipse mean, why it is so important, which are the planetary positions, also the aspects related to the sun and the moon. And then I will make a short forecast about the 12 signs so that you will know how to prepare and how you can benefit from this lunar eclipse. You can listen to your sun and ascendant sign at the same time, but the most accurate is if you can find out where exactly the lunar eclipse will fall in your horoscope. That would give you the most precise prediction. Also, if you're interested in having your own report, you can check that in the description below and order one. Now, let's begin with the general information that we need. So, what is the lunar eclipse? The lunar eclipse is a full moon, which also includes the lunar nodes. So, basically, we have an opposition between the sun and the moon, as usual, but also the lunar nodes, which are, always in opposition, they are in conjunction with the sun and the moon at the same time. And these events are considered to be very karmic because the lunar nodes are related to our karma. And in this situation, the south node is in conjunction with the sun and the north node is in conjunction with the moon. The sun is in Aquarius, the moon is in Leo. And you know that when we have a full moon, basically this is the time when you can realize something really important because your conscious mind is capable of seeing or realizing something which is coming from your unconscious mind or something which has been suppressed for some reason. So basically the full moon is a time when you can realize something, you can change something, you may achieve some kind of manifestation in certain area of your life. Like this is the culmination of the lunar cycle. That's the time when you can receive certain benefits. And normally I'm always saying that the place where the moon is falling in your chart is where you can make the changes. The moon is the planet which brings changes. But in this situation, this is a more specific case because the south node is in conjunction with the sun, and the south node is related to losing something or giving up on something or setting free from something. And the north node is related to gaining something and achieving and success. Basically, very often you can see such an analogy between the south node and Saturn and the north node and Jupiter. They have kind of similar influences. You need to give up on something where the south node is transiting your horoscope, and on the other hand, you can gain something, you can succeed in something where the north node is transiting your chart. And basically this lunation, the full moon, with this lunar eclipse actually can activate this topic. And that's why they say that this is an event which can influence your life for the upcoming 6 months, in some cases up to 3 years. So it is karmic, it is important, it can be life-changing. The exact position where we have these planets is 12 degrees. Basically, the sun is at the 12th degree in Aquarius and the moon 12th degree in Leo. So that's the most important which you should find in the horoscope, where exactly you have those degrees. And are there any planetary aspects with your planets? But generally in this situation, we can say, so what does Aquarius and Leo mean? This axis is related to your personal desires, your ego, your personality, your strength. That's what Leo represents. And on the other hand, Aquarius is about the society, the community. Also, another difference is that Leo is related to your heart and Aquarius is related to your mind. And we need to find the balance between those things. You need to find the balance between your personal desires, your ego, what you would like to do for yourself. And on the other hand, the needs of the community that you're part of, or the society that you're part of, or also maybe your friends or other people who are important to you. Finding the balance, that's something key when we have a full moon or a lunar eclipse, of course. And the next step is to find where exactly these positions are falling in your chart. And as I told you, specifically for this lunar eclipse, I would say that where you have the sun and the south node and basically Aquarius as a sign in your horoscope is where you should give up on something. And if you try to do that consciously, you can benefit more and it will be easier and you won't face with so many challenges. And it might help you to gain something here where you have Leo in the chart. Of course, there might be some transformations, there might be changes in both of the houses where you have this opposition, but it activates pretty much similar areas of your life. We're going to say a few words about each of the signs, but that's just the general picture for now. Next, we need to analyze the aspects that we have between the other planets. Of course, the most important are the conjunctions, and we have Mercury and Venus in conjunction with the Sun, both in Aquarius as well. Mercury is the planet related to your mind, related to being analytical, and Mercury in Aquarius is actually exalted, which means it's very strong. So in this situation, being analytical and using your mind can really help you. So we need to be more rational in this situation. On the other hand, Venus in conjunction with the Sun suggests that our emotions will also be important. And areas like relationships, romantic relationships, all kinds of partnerships could also be very important. On the other hand, we also have Neptune. So here you can find the aspects. I hope that you can see them. So Neptune will make a semi-sextile with the Sun and quincunx with Neptune. And by the way, I also have a webinar about the meaning of each type of aspect. Basically, it includes 32 types of aspects. So if you would like to have more information about all of these more specific aspects, please check the link in the description below. But in this situation, we can say that Neptune is making a minor supportive aspect with the Sun, and minor, the quincunx is so-so aspect. So it could be challenging, then it could be positive. So what it means is that actually we can use our intuition. Neptune is all about intuition. It can help us if we are more compassionate with people, if we are trying to help someone, if we are trying to do something good for ourselves, then for other people as well, we are going to benefit more. The risk here is that you also need to set free from some illusions that you might have, because we have this quincunx between Neptune and the Moon, and the quincunx is an aspect which consists of 90 plus 60 degrees, so square and sextile, which means first comes the challenges, which in this situation could be related to some kind of disappointments, some unrealistic expectations, some illusions that might face the reality and may totally disappear. But after that comes the influence of the sextile, which is positive, harmonious, major, supportive aspect. Which means that if you're ready to put some efforts, if you're ready to fight with all of these illusions, unrealistic beliefs, you're going to benefit from this aspect. The next one that we have is Jupiter. Jupiter will make binonagon with the Sun and centagon with the Moon. These are very specific aspects. They are karmic and they may have quite a challenging influence. The specific thing about the karmic aspect, in which we are going to talk more in the webinar, is that they have a very intense and challenging influence. So they will affect you for a short time, but it will be very intense and probably very hard. In this situation, the good news is that after all, we are speaking about Jupiter. So Jupiter is not one of the planets which will bring you serious problems or, you know, will harm you in any way. But it's more about, in this case, related to if you're feeling satisfied, if you're feeling successful. And it's possible that with these karmic aspects, maybe something will make you feel unsatisfied. And the good news is that after all, it might stimulate you, it might motivate you to make certain changes and generally improve your life. But the main idea is that you need to have idea what you want to achieve in the future. That's very important with Jupiter. So you need to have a final goal, a final destination, why you're doing something, what you want to achieve, what's the perspective for all of this. That's really important when we speak about Jupiter. And then we have we have Saturn making semi-quintile with the Sun. This is again minor creative aspect, which means it is supportive, and Saturn can help us to be more practical and realistic. So whatever it is that you need to change in your life, to set free from something, you need to be very aware of the practical influence that it will bring. So be more realistic about the situation, be more grounded. That's what can really, really help you. And finally, we also have Uranus, which makes a quintile with the Sun. The quintile is a major creative aspect, which means that the influence is very supportive. And Uranus is the planet of changes. So this aspect definitely means that it is time for some serious changes. Uranus, by the way, is also ruling the Sun in Aquarius, so that makes the aspect stronger and more important. And the creative aspects are bringing opportunities for changes. The most important here is that you have a choice. So you are not pushed, you don't have to make those changes, you have your own choices. But if you miss the opportunities, it's not going to benefit you in any way, because all of these opportunities will be gone. So it won't stay as an option forever. You have to take the chance now or leave it and forget about it. So these are the most important aspects that we have. Basically, I think that there aren't any serious challenges from aspects with other planets. Basically, we see Jupiter makes challenging karmic aspects, but Jupiter is a positive planet, so I'm not considering this as something really stressful. Then Uranus and Saturn are supporting the eclipse. Mars isn't included. Pluto is not included. Neptune is kind of included, but in a positive way, we could say. So generally, I think that this might be a positive lunar eclipse. And don't forget, we're going to talk about each of the signs in a little bit, but find where you have this axis in your horoscope, and where you have the Sun and the lunar and the south lunar node is where you need to give up on something. Now let's say a few words about each of the zodiac signs. And as I told you, I would recommend you to listen to your Sun and Ascendant sign as well. We are starting with Aries. For Aries, the Moon will fall in their 5th house, the Sun falls in 11th house. As we said, here is where they need to give up on something. So maybe change something in terms of the community that you are part of. Maybe if there is a friendship which is not good or you're disappointed, you have to leave that in the past. So basically concentrate on the contacts that are no longer useful for you. And don't neglect your personal needs for other people. You have to concentrate here on your personal desires, what you want to do, not what others want you to do. Then for Taurus, we have the Moon in 4th house and the Sun in 10th house, which means that Taurus may need to give up on something related to their career plans. Maybe a project that didn't work very well, maybe an idea or something which was not positive for your success. You need to give up on something here. If you're not satisfied with your work, this is a good time for you to quit. And on the other hand, you can gain or you can benefit with something in the area of your home and family and the people that you live together. Then we have Gemini. For Gemini, the moon will fall in 3rd house, the sun falls in 9th house. So Gemini may need to give up on some of their future goals. Maybe something didn't work for you, maybe something is not positive for you, or is not realistic. You have to give up on that and instead try to focus more in your 3rd house, which is about the present moment, the present time, the more practical things and the small things that you can do in order to achieve your future goals. Then we have Cancer. For Cancer, the moon will fall in 2nd house and the sun will fall in 8th house. And it suggests that Cancer may need to give up on some support from others or some expenses that you are making, and basically to rely more on their financial independence, to try to earn their own money and not to rely on others, because the South Node and the Sun are in your 8th house. So consciously you need to give up on that support. You shouldn't depend on others. Then for Leo, the moon is in 1st house and the sun is in 7th house. Of course, this will be a very, very important lunar eclipse for you because it affects one of the cardinal axes in your horoscope, your personality and your personal relationships, the closest people next to you. And what you need to give up on is something about ideas for your relationships or partnerships. If you have an unhealthy relationship, if your partner is not treating you the way you want to, the way you deserve, this might be a time when you may quit. You may put the end of this relationship. Or if you are single, maybe you need to work on an unconscious level with some kind of beliefs or your models of behavior and all kinds of patterns which are, bringing those contradictions and problems in the area of relationships. So that's where you need to change something, to transform something. Then for Virgo, the lunar eclipse is in 12th and 6th house. The sun and the south node in 6th house suggest that if you are unhappy with your work, with some business projects or ideas for your future work, this is the time to reconsider those plans. You may quit your job, or you may stop doing something that didn't work for you, even if it's some kind of health regime, some kind of diet. If it's not working for you, this is the time to set free, to stop doing all of those things so that the new things might come up in your life. Then for Libra, we have this lunation in 11th and 5th house with the sun and the south node in 5th house. It suggests that it is time to set free from some of your personal desires. Maybe something needs to be transformed. Maybe something was not right for you and for others, and you need to try to be more a team player. Not so much to think for yourself or your personal desires. Try to think more for the society or for the people that are really important to you, like your friends, like, the community that you are part of. And try to set free also from some unrealistic expectations in terms of your romantic life. If it is not working for you, just leave it. Don't try to repair things which are broken and just can't be repaired. Then for Scorpio, this lunar eclipse will fall in 10th and 4th house with the sun and the south node in your 4th house, which means that something related to home, family, property, the place where you are living, you may, give up on some of those ideas or plans, or even, change something related to your home. Maybe throw out some things that you don't no longer need, some personal belongings which are only keeping the space and the energy stuck, and you will open up a new space for the new stuff to come into your life. And this might help you also to concentrate more on your career, because the north node is in your 10th house, which means that you can gain more, you can benefit more in your career. Then for Sagittarius, we have 9th and 3rd house. The sun and the south node are in your 3rd house, which means that you need to be you need to concentrate more on the future. The future is your ninth house, where you have the north node and the moon. And on the other hand, the south node in third house suggests that you shouldn't think about so much about the current situation and what's happening right now. Try to think more about the future. Try to concentrate more on your future. And don't think so much about the small stuff. Don't let the small things stop you or disappoint you. This is not so important. You need to concentrate more on the bigger picture, on the future. Then we have Capricorn. For Capricorn, this lunation will be in 8th and 2nd house, with the sun and the south node in your 2nd house, which means that you need to give up on some of your financial independence. You shouldn't be afraid to ask other people for support. You shouldn't try to take all of the financial responsibility only for yourself. Don't be afraid to ask for support. Don't be afraid to accept support from others on an energetical level, as some kind of resources, including with money. And through other people, through their support, you can benefit more. Also, the south node in 2nd house is very good for you to throw out some personal belongings that you just don't need, and they are, they have taken their time and their place just stays in the past. So think about it, and when you try to do that consciously, you won't be pushed by the circumstances and it won't feel so stressful. Then we have Aquarius. Of course, for Aquarius, this is a very, very important lunar eclipse because it affects your own sign. We have the sun and the south node in your 1st house, the moon and the north node in your 7th house. So you also need to give up on your independence. You shouldn't try to do everything on your own. You can benefit more from partnerships, from relationships, from connections with others. Don't try to do everything on your own. Don't try to take all of the responsibility. Don't try to be, the only person who takes the decisions. Connecting with someone else, partnerships might be much more beneficial to you. Also, for those who would like to attract a new relationship, including marriage, including personal relationships, this might be a very positive time. And finally, we have Pisces. For Pisces, this lunation will be in their 6th and 12th house, with the sun and the south node in 12th house. This literally means, guys, that consciously you have to set free from your past. Whatever has happened to you, something dramatic, something painful, something awful, if you're keeping that in your life, in yourself, in your heart, in your mind, you're just not allowing the new stuff to come into your life. So it's definitely a time for inner work for you to go deep and, just set free from all of those stuff, because you're hurting yourself. You're not allowing the new things, the new energy to come into your life. So for Pisces, this is a very intense period for inner work and releasing the pain from your past. So I think that these were the most important things about the lunar eclipse. Finally, I just want to mention that, of course, this lunar eclipse is not visible from everywhere on the earth, but I think that it's still affecting us. Even if it's not visible for the country where you are, it's still gonna affect you more or less. So my advice is just to find where in your horoscope you have the 12th degree of Aquarius and Leo. Where you have Aquarius as a sign in your horoscope is the place where you need to give up on something, to set free from something, even to make some kind of conscious sacrifice. And Leo, the place where you have Leo in the horoscope, will show you where you can benefit and where you can be more successful. So that's the most important, guys. Don't forget, if you want to have a personal report, you can order that. You will find the link in the description below. Also, you're welcome to join us on the webinar about the aspects, and I will talk about 32 different types of aspects. So you can find the link for that in the description as well. Thank you very much for joining me in this video, and I'll see you very soon.